wonderful honorees, your support of and commitment to Masorti Judaism and Masorti Olami. Formal acknowledgement of those who made tonight possible and who drive all of our activities will be offered later in the program. But I must open with a special thank you to the worker of miracles who pulls everything together for tonight and for so much else, the amazing Tehillah Rubin. This evening, we honor one who brought television and media expertise from the British Isles to Europe and to much of the world in helping to seed and sustain our movement and to articulate how Masorti Olami has made and will continue to make a difference in the lives of so many. Tonight we honor one who has kept alive a century-old flame of passionate Judaism in the African continent, bringing Torah and tradition to the most remote of communities and teaching all of us the extent to which heroic, loving energy and enthusiasm can overcome obstacles in order to build, literally from the ground up, inspiring centers of Jewish life. Tonight we honor one whose rabbinic voice in the American scene has inspired growth and change in our movement, sensitivity to moral concerns that need to undergird our traditional practice, and whose efforts have created in Chicago strong and powerful links between Jewish and African American communities. And tonight we honor one who, when not achieving the highest levels of recognition in the music industry, in so many of its forms and venues, from the Grammys to The Voice, and so much in between, who has brought his passion and his talents to his LA cantorial pulpit and to the wider Jewish world as well. Tonight, in honoring Gillian Caplin, Rabbi Gershom Sizomu, Rabbi Michael Siegel, and Hazzan Mike Stein, we highlight exemplars of Jewish commitment, achievement, and true Ahavat Yisrael, true love of our people. You know, it is appropriate that tonight's tribute event takes place at International House because we are truly international as a movement. Do you realize that at this event tonight, 6 continents are represented? 6 continents. The only continent missing is Antarctica, but we're working on that one. There's rumor circulating that Tehillah was seen at Home Depot buying heaters to take to Antarctica. But it's my honor to recognize the organizations and leaders of the Masorti world and Israel who are represented here tonight. Starting with an organization with which I have very close association, the Rabbinical Assembly, with President Rabbi Deborah Newman-Kamen, President-elect Rabbi Stuart Vogel, Chief Executive Rabbi Jacob Blumenthal, Senior Vice President Rabbi Elliot Sala Schoenberg, COO Rabbi Ashira Konigsberg, Senior Consultant Rabbi Bill Lebo, and Executive Vice President Emeritus Rabbi Joel Myers, who was instrumental in the foundation and in the strength of Masorti Olami. We welcome tonight the Cantors Assembly, represented by President Hazzan David Lipp. We welcome Karen Kayemet L'Yisrael, the Jewish National Fund. We're honored to have its chair, Daniel Attar, with us, and Shlomo Deri, the vice chair, and the CEO, Amnon Ben Ami. Toda Rabba for being here. And Jaffe, the Jewish Agency for Israel, represented by its deputy chairman, Dr. David Breakstone. My alma mater, Jewish Theological Seminary, represented by the Dean of Division of Religious Leadership, Rabbi Daniel Nevins. And several of its rabbinical students who are here with us tonight. United Synagogue of Conservative Judaism, USCJ, represented by President Ned Gladstein, who was last year's Hidor Mitzvah recipient. Immediate past President Margot Gold, also Vice President of Masorti Olami. Interim Executive Director Leslie Lichter. Masorti Foundation, represented by Executive Director Gillian Aronoff. Merkaz USA, President Marilyn Wind, Executive Director Saray Crane. Noam Israel, represented by Rabbi Yerachmiel Meyersdorf. Masorti Umlaut, represented by its president, Rabbi Marcelo Rittner. And the Seminary Rabbinico Latin America, Marshall T. Meyer, represented by its rector, Ariel Stoffenmacher. Zacharias Frankl College in Berlin, represented by its board member, Freddie Rimbaum. And also happy to recognize the Av Beit Din of Europe, the head of our Beit Din and leader in so many different aspects of life in Europe, Rabbi Chaim Wiener. It is my honor at this time to call upon our exemplary executive director, Rabbi Mauricio Balter.
Shalom and Bruchim Habayim. Shalom and welcome. We read in the Torah in the last weeks the story of our patriarch Abraham. And I ask myself if he has something that links him to the Masorti world. To the Midrash teaches and told Abraham the Hebrew, Rabbi Yehuda said, the whole world was one side ever. Well, he was on the other side ever. Rabbi Nehemiah says that he was descended from Eber. The rabbi says it means that he came from across the river. Further, he spoke in the languages of the dwellers across the river. Put attention. ברבנם אמרו שהוא מעבר הנהר והוא משיח בלשון עברית. He was ever across, as we, as Masorti movement, are ever across in a lot of issues. The first one is the globalized world that cancels our identity, our individual identity, against the right of each one to define his own identity, individualism. If we put attention the word that put in the center of our life the individualist in opposition with the community life, a society that focuses in the self-centers in place of our worry about the Zulat, the other, in our vocabulary, in our language, Tikkun Olam. An era that advocates technology as the center of our life, instant human connection. A time of extremist ideologies, including halachic positions against a moderate proposal, non-Zionist versus Zionist position, anti-Israeli and pro-Israeli position, free from the other side of the river. And we, at Masorti Olami, we have the motion of the Jewish world that we are building with our communities, with our young adult movement, Marom, and with your youth movement, Noam. From Australia to Uganda, from each place in the world, from Iquitos, or communities in Peru, in the Amazonas, to a call from a new minyan that is developing in these days in New Zealand. We have activities, Tashlich in Argentina, Shlichuyot of rabbinical students for all the rabbinical schools to Europe. Young communities ever in Europe and in Ukraine, in Odessa. We have a young community of Odessa until a big meeting of Madrichim this year, 400 Madrichim for Noam in Buenos Aires. We celebrate Jewish life around the world. Around the world. Where we are, Masorti Jewish. Latin America, you see our communities, 79 communities, 5 Merkaz chapters, 4 Noam Olami chapters, 7 Marom chapters. Europe, 40 communities, I will not say all the numbers. FSU, 6 communities. Africa, 10 communities. Australasia, 7 communities. You see? Be'arba kanfot haaretz. In the 4 corners of the world we are. We celebrate together Masorti Jewish life around the world. We celebrate our role in bringing tradition closer to the Jews, our role in Tikkun Olam, our role in working and giving the opportunity to young people and children to live a modern and traditional Judaism and Masorti identity, with a plan full of Jewish life, with a full possibility to live their Torah, from Chicago, from Los Angeles, from London, or from Uganda. I want to thank to all our donors. Thank you to our staff around the world, in Latin America, in Europe, and in the office in Israel. And a special thank you to all our leaders. Our work is possible thanks to the financial support that, among others, we receive from the national institutions of Israel, the Jewish Agency, the Keren Hayesod, the World Science Organization, and the Keren Kayemet of Israel, to ensure that our institutions can continue to receive budget for their operations and can influence the essential decisions that these institutions make. Your commitment to vote to Merkaz is vital. Every vote around the world in the elections for the World Zionist Congress will translate into influence, positions, and budgets for the movements. At the tables, you will find materials, and I ask you, each one of you, to become active participants in the upcoming elections. I have a pleasure to introduce to you the chair of Kakal, Dani Attar. Dani Attar is here with his wife, Chaya. Dani Attar was born in Afula, Israel, to Jewish parents who had immigrated from Morocco in 1956. During his IDF national service, he served in the Golani Brigade. He fought in the 1982 Lebanon War. He continued to serve in the Army Reserves, becoming a lieutenant colonel. And in 1994, he was elected leader of Gilboa Regional Council. He was elected to the Knesset as the Alliance in 2015, and in October 2015, Attar was elected head of the Jewish National Fund. Attar is married and with 3 children. Dani Attar is the first head of the Jewish National Fund to allocate funds for the religious movement. Thank you very much, Dani. Dani is a true friend of the worldwide Masorti movement, and I have the honor of working alongside the GNF directory. Dani, please, come here.
צעירה ודינמית, 20 שנים הן תקופה משמעותית שיכולה להוות קרש קפיצה לעתיד מזהיר. אך כיצד נשמור על המובילות היזמית והטכנולוגית שלנו גם בעוד 2 עשורים? תוכנית רילוקיישן ישראלי, קק"ל בונה את ארץ המחר, מציעה חזון מפורט לרילוקיישן פנים ישראלי של 1.5 מיליון ישראלים לנגב ולגליל. התוכנית תפיח חיים חדשים באזורי הפריפריה ותהפוך אותם למוקדי הייטק וטכנולוגיה. ההשקעה בגליל תוביל לפיתוחו של עמק סיליקון ישראלי שימשוך אליו אנשי הייטק, תעשייה ומחקר מובילים. בנגב השתלבו בעלי מקצועות נבחרים בפיתוח מתחמי הסייבר. באמצעות התוכנית יציע שוק העבודה החדש תנאים מיוחדים לעובדים והזדמנות משתלמת לחברות ולמעסיקים. פתרונות מגורים מגוונים וחדשניים יובילו לעיבוי יישובים קיימים וערים קיימות. התוכנית תשקיע ותפתח את דור העתיד באמצעות מערך מוסדות חינוך ברמה גבוהה וחלוקת מלגות לסטודנטים. הקמתם של מערכי תשתיות ותחבורה מתקדמים תחבר ותנגיש את אזורי הפריפריה השונים למרכז הארץ, כמו גם לקהילה העסקית הבינלאומית וליהדות התפוצות. כך יהפכו הנגב והגליל למוקדי חדשנות צומחים ובעלי השפעה מעצימה בתוך 20 שנים בלבד. אז איך תיראה ישראל בת 90? עם תוכנית רילוקיישן ישראלי של קק"ל, ישראל 2040 תהיה מלהיבה, חדשנית וחזקה. ערב טוב. מה שלומכם? אני חושב שלא צריך תרגום. האמת היא שזה מרגש מאוד להיות כאן מולכם ולפגוש אתכם כאן הערב. אני מאוד מאוד שמח על כך.
I'm so happy and thrilled to be here tonight and to meet with all of you.
אני נמצא כאן עם מר שלמה דרעי, שהוא סגן יושב ראש קק"ל.
I'm here with the vice chair of קרן קיימת לישראל, Mr. שלמה דרעי.
ועם אמנון בן עמי, מנכ"ל הקרן הקיימת.
And with the CEO of קרן קיימת לישראל, Mr. אמנון בן עמי.
אני מאוד אוהב אותם.
I love them both.
אבל הם הרבה פחות חשובים מאשתי היקרה שנמצאת כאן הערב.
But the most important person here tonight is my wife, חיה.
אני מזכיר אותה, כי אני רוצה שתדעו שאני כבר 35 שנים בעבודות ציבוריות, כנבחר ציבור וכן הלאה, וכבר 4 שנים בקק"ל. זה האירוע הראשון שמצטרפת איתי אליו.
I'm mentioning her because, you know, I've been married to the public activities for the last 35 years, but this is the first event that Chaya is joining me as a public figure.
אני רוצה ברשותכם להגיד למאוריציו, איפה מאוריציו? הנה הוא. כן, הוא עבר מקום, אז נעלם לי. אני רוצה לומר לכם, תראו, ב4 שנים שאני בקק"ל, הוא השני בתפקיד מטעם מסורתי עולמי.
In the last 4 years that I'm serving as the chair of קרן קיימת לישראל, Mauricio is the second one of the Masorti that is serving.
הוא גם חבר דירקטוריון של קרן קיימת.
He is also a board of director member of קרן קיימת לישראל.
והוא יושב ראש אחת הוועדות הכי חשובות שלנו, זה
the
ועדת איכות הסביבה וקיימות.
And he is the chair of one of the most important committees of קרן קיימת לישראל, the Environmental and Sustainability Committee.
והוא עושה עבודה מצוינת.
He's doing a perfect job.
הייתי מעדיף להחמיא לו אם הוא לא היה כאן.
I'd prefer, you know, complimenting him without him present over here, but he's here.
אבל לא הייתי מזכיר את זה, אם לא הייתי חושב שהוא עושה לתנועה המסורתית העולמית עבודת קודש.
I wouldn't have mentioned it if I wouldn't think and believe and know that he's doing a sacred work job for the Masorti movement.
כן, מגיע לו מחיאות כפיים.
He deserves the applause.
אני לא הייתי מציין את זה, אם זה לא היה בולט מאוד, השינוי בהתנהלות של מסורתי עולמי מיום שהוא נכנס לתפקידו.
From the day he started his role as the CEO of the Masorti, the change can be seen from anywhere. It is so clear to everyone that he is doing a different job and better job.
אני אומר את זה כי מהמקום שבו אני נמצא, כיושב ראש קרן קיימת, שמיד עם כניסתי לתפקיד, קיבלנו החלטה בדירקטוריון, שאנחנו תומכים בכל הארגונים והתנועות שקשורים לעם היהודי.
I'm saying it as the chair of קרן קיימת לישראל, as I was appointed as the chair, we have made a decision to support all the organizations that are connected with the Jewish life and the Jewish people.
אבל יש הבדל גדול בין לתמוך בארגון לבין להפוך את הקשר בזכות העבודה המשותפת שלנו ובזכות הגישה האישית של מאוריציו, להפוך את הקשר לעבודה שוטפת שאני היום מרגיש בזכותו, שאני חלק מכם.
But there's a difference than, you know, just supporting an organization and turning the relations and the connection between the two organizations into something friendly, personal. There's a good commitment and good atmosphere between the two organizations.
אתם יודעים, אנחנו כל ישיבת דירקטוריון פותחים בדברי תורה, שכל פעם מישהו אחר אומר את דברי התורה.
Every meeting of the board of directors of קרן קיימת לישראל is opened by דבר תורה, that somebody else is presenting.
הוא הביא לתנועה המסורתית הרבה כבוד.
He is bringing a lot of honor to the Masorti movement.
כשהוא אמר את דברי התורה בישיבת דירקטוריון.
When he said the דבר תורה at the board of director meeting.
מאוריציו, זו הזדמנות טובה בשבילי להגיד לך תודה רבה על שיתוף הפעולה ולחבק אותך. אתה עברת לפני מעט ימים, עברת אירוע קשה, אמא שלך הלכה לעולמה ונורא התרגשתי לשמוע אותך בהלוויה. ואני מאחל לך שתמשיך להיות חזק ותמשיך להוביל את התנועה להישגים גדולים.
Wait. Now I can give a free translation, right? Maurizio, you got it. He has so much respect for you and so he admires you. And he feels sorry. He feels like hugging you, but he feels so sorry that you had to go through the tragedy of losing your mother a few days or weeks ago. And he was very moved to hear you, speaking about your mother at this event.
לסיום אני רוצה לומר לכם על מאוריציו, הוא קצת מתוחכם.
He is very sophisticated, Maurizio.
הוא הציג כאן מפה של כל העולם והראה איפה מסורתי עובד.
He has shown the globe map and showed you where the Masorti works.
זה מאוד מרשים, שראינו חצי עולם שבו יש עבודה של מסורתי.
Very impressive to see how large the Masortis work around the world.
אבל הוא גם הראה חלקים שעדיין לא עובדים שם.
But he also showed
הוא סימן לנו שזה היעד, זה האתגר.
He showed you also the parts that are still target of where the Masorti should enter and be more active.
אז אני מאחל לנו שבפגישה הבאה תראה את הכל צבוע.
So I wish both of us that in our next meeting you're going to show everything colored and every place will be active with the Masorti.
אתם יודעים, לא כולם מכירים את קרן קיימת. ולא כולם יודעים מה קרן קיימת עושה.
Not everyone knows קרן קיימת לישראל and knows exactly what the קרן קיימת לישראל is doing.
אבל באופן מסורתי אפשר לומר,
But traditionally, Masorti is also traditionally,
כשהקימו את קרן קיימת לפני 120 שנה,
when we were established 120 years ago,
המטרה שלה הייתה לגאול אדמות בארץ ישראל כדי שאפשר יהיה להקים מדינה.
the goal was to redeem land in Eretz Israel so that we will be able to establish the state of Israel.
וזו הצלחה יוצאת מן הכלל, כי היום יש מדינה חזקה, מדינה מוצלחת.
And this is a phenomenal success because today we have a state of Israel, a stable, strong, successful Israel.
יש בה לא מעט בעיות, בטח בימים אלה.
We have some challenges.
אנחנו כבר שנה, בפעם הראשונה, מאז שקמה המדינה, שאנחנו כבר שנה בלי ממשלה נבחרת, אלא בממשלת מעבר.
It's already a year that, we don't have a government yet, an elected government, 2019.
אבל לכל הדעות זו מדינה מוצלחת מאוד, בכל פרמטר שאנחנו בודקים אותו, ואנחנו מקווים שזה ימשיך ככה.
There's no question how Israel is successful.
אנחנו אחראים לכך, אנחנו קרן קיימת, אחראים לכך שמדינת ישראל היא המדינה היחידה בעולם, שכל שנה יש בה יותר עצים.
קרן קיימת לישראל is the organization that is responsible for the fact that every year we have more trees than the previous year.
יש לנו חלק משמעותי מאוד בעובדה שמדינת ישראל, שהיא מדינה מדברית במזרח התיכון, במדבר, היא המדינה היחידה שאין לה בעיות של מים. בכל המזרח התיכון.
We have a prominent role in the fact that Israel, that is located in an arid land, a desert in the Middle East, is the only country in this region that does not have water scarcity.
יש בה בסך הכל 400 מילימטר גשם ממוצע בשנה.
All we have is about, I have to translate it, it's like 4 centimeters, 2 inches of rain annually in different regions in Israel.
400 מילימטר גשם ואין בה בעיות של מים.
All we have is 2 inches of water or of rain every year, and there is no water scarcity.
הייתי לפני 3 חודשים בארגנטינה,
3 months ago, I've been to Argentina.
השר לאיכות הסביבה
The minister of
של ארגנטינה,
environment,
שהוא יהודי,
who is Jewish,
אמר לי, אצלנו בארגנטינה יש 4,000 מילימטר גשם בשנה ויש לנו בעיות של מים. בואו תעזרו לנו.
in Argentina, they have 10 times more of rain precipitation, and they're asking for Israel to come and help them with the water scarcity.
אני בכלל חושב שבארגנטינה אחד הדברים הכי טובים זה ברח לי השם? כן,
סמינריו?
הסמינריו שלכם,
וואלה.
שהיינו שם והתרגשנו מאוד והרב נמצא כאן. איפה הוא?
Yeah.
גאים בך.
So he's complimenting Argentina that one of the best things in Argentina is the seminario. Seminario? Okay.
אז אנחנו עושים הרבה מאוד דברים בישראל,
So we're very active in Israel. We're doing a lot of things.
ואנחנו משתדלים לפעול גם ברחבי העולם,
And we're trying to be active, worldwide, not only in Israel.
שהפעילות שלנו בעולם יש לה 2 מטרות.
2 goals of our activities around the world.
אחד, זה לחזק את הזהות היהודית,
To strengthen the Jewish personality or identity,
ושתיים, זה לחזק את הזיקה לארץ ישראל.
and to strengthen the bond between the Jewish people and the state of Israel.
הסרטון שראיתם, הוא בא בעצם להציג את החזון של קרן קיימת,
The video that you've just seen is presenting the vision of קרן קיימת לישראל,
חזון שקובע איך צריכה להיראות מדינת ישראל בשנת 2040 וממנה והלאה.
a vision that states how Israel, the state of Israel, should look in the year of 2040 and onward.
אנחנו רוצים להניע תהליך ולהביא 500,000 תושבים חדשים לגליל ומיליון תושבים חדשים לנגב.
We would like to start a process of moving 1 million people to the Negev desert and 500,000 of people to the Galilee.
את זה אנחנו רוצים לעשות באמצעות הקטר המרכזי, שזה עולם ההייטק.
The main factor that will help us implementing it will be the high-tech economy.
כי אתם יודעים, מדינת ישראל היא מדינה מובילה בטכנולוגיות בעולם.
As we are leading in technologies around the
בהרבה
world.
מאוד פרמטרים היא מדינה מובילה, אבל 93% מההייטק של ישראל נמצא בתל אביב ובסביבה שלה.
93% of the high-tech companies in Israel are located in Tel Aviv and the area, in the center of Israel.
והמטרה שלנו היא להביא את זה גם לגליל ולנגב, ובככה לחזק את מדינת ישראל מאוד.
And our goal is to bring it also to the Negev, which is in the south, and the Galil, which is in the north, and by doing that, to strengthen the state of Israel in the periphery.
כיוון שיש מקום חשוב מאוד בכל פעולה שקשורה למדינת ישראל לעולם היהודי,
Since the Jewish people around the world has a meaningful a place in everything that we're doing in the state of Israel,
אז אני מקווה שבהקדם תתחילו להתעניין בתוכנית הזו של ישראל 2040,
I hope you will find it interesting,
ותהיו שותפים לה,
be part of it, be partners,
ותהיו שותפים ליכולת של מדינת ישראל להתחזק ולצמוח ולהמשיך להיות המדינה המובילה בעולם.
and be partners of strengthening Israel and leading it into the place that it should be as a leader in the world.
לכל יהודי בעולם יש תפקיד חשוב בהצלחה הזו,
Every Jew around the world has a part in this success,
ואני מקווה לראות אתכם איתנו ביחד, שותפים למהלך הזה.
and I hope seeing you with us, partners, implementing it in Israel.
אני מברך את 4 החברים על העובדה שהם יצוינו היום לטובה על ידכם, כמי שפעלו בקהילות שלהם בצורה איכותית וטובה.
Congratulations to each of the honorees that will be honored here tonight for their activities in their communities.
אני מאחל לכם ערב מוצלח.
Good evening.
ואני מקווה שאנחנו ניפגש בחודש הבא בבוסטון.
And I'm
ערב
looking
טוב ותודה רבה
forward to
לכם.
seeing you next month in Boston. Good evening and thank
תודה
you
רבה.
very much.
ותודה רבה לטלי.
And thank me. I'm Keren Kayemet L'Israel Chief Israel Emissary, and I'm here in New York. He's thanking me, not me.
Okay, on behalf of all of us, we thank Keren Kayemet L'Israel JNF Chairman Danny Attar for his message, and for all that he and JNF does to support our movement and their major support of tonight's event. We're very grateful to Danny and to the entire KKL JNF enterprise for their support and what they do for Medinat Yisrael. So at this time, we are offering our formal thank you and appreciation to Gillian Caplin, Masorti Olami's immediate past president. Time limitations preclude me from enumerating all of Jill's accomplishments on behalf of Masorti Olami, but her 5 years as president covered some of the most challenging years in our organization's history. Jill's volunteer leadership became a full-time responsibility during much, if not most, of her tenure. Her steady hand, her relentless energy, her profound commitment to Masorti Olami were literally life-sustaining to our movement. Without exaggeration, one could say that were it not for Jill, it is highly questionable as to whether we'd be gathered here tonight together. I'm honored to call upon our tireless past president, Alan Silberman, to present our gift of appreciation to Gillian Caplin, and I'd ask Jill to come forward as well.
You've been presented.
Turn around, face the.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Can I kiss you as well?
Of course.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Alan. And thank you for being with me on this amazing journey. And it has been an amazing journey that we've been on, all of us, together. Who knew when Eddie and I joined the fledgling Masorti community that was New North London over 40 years ago, that it would become the largest Masorti community in Europe, and that all these years later, I would have had the honor and privilege of being involved with communities all across the world, leading the development and growth of Masorti Olami. When we look at that growth, both of individual members and also of new communities, I think that the numbers speak for themselves. But what those numbers don't do is to begin to capture the work, enthusiasm, and warmth of the people who have been involved. And it's the people who count. Those committed souls who have started new communities in places where the concept of Masorti had never previously been considered. Those who saw the need and potential of a new type of Judaism and did the outreach work necessary for those communities to progress, often beyond all expectations. And those who made the commitment to lead services, teach our children, and do all the things that are necessary week in, week out to ensure that a new community thrives and becomes an intrinsic part of today's Jewish world. Because as we know, community matters. Community has always been important to Jewish people. It's difficult, if not impossible, to maintain a full Jewish life without one. And so Masorti Olami can be proud of its successes and the growth of its communities around the world. But it cannot rest on its laurels, as there is still so much more to do. Over the past years, I have seen the movement in Europe increase from half a dozen disassociated groups to 40 strong and ever-increasing communities. I've seen the leaders in Latin America create a vibrant movement which has been instrumental in developing new communities, even in the most remote areas, making this largest region more resilient than it has ever been. I'm aware of the potential of new and larger communities across Australasia and Africa. All of these are ongoing tasks for Masorti Olami, which I know it will accomplish successfully. When we look to the future, our continuing focus on the expansion of Noam Olami and alongside of Marom is the only way to ensure that our movement will continue to be strong. The world is changing, and our young people may have a different approach, but it continues to be our responsibility to ensure that they are well prepared and educated in the Judaism that we love. Masorti Olami is in a really good place, with effective professional and lay leaders who reflect the values of the Masorti movement in its tradition of understanding and tolerance. And their dedication and loyalty will ensure that we realize our goals. There are so many people in this room and beyond who I want and need to thank. People with whom I have so enjoyed working and have appreciated your input. Although I would like to name each and every one of them, there is certainly not enough time tonight. So I will simply say an enormous thank you to everyone who has been with me on this journey over the years. Thank you for your support and for your friendship. And I look forward as Masorti Olami continues to flourish and grow. Thank you.
Next on our agenda is a very popular item, and that will be the motzi. And it is my honor to call upon my distinguished successor as president of the Rabbinical Assembly, Rabbi Deborah Newman-Kamen, to lead us in the wonderful bracha of Hamotzi Lecha Min Haaretz. There are washing stations available in the back for those who would like to fulfill the mitzvah of Netilat Yadayim.
On behalf of the Rabbinical Assembly, I just want to wish a mazal tov to all of the wonderful honorees this evening. And if you would join me in motzi, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
We invite you now to visit the various buffet stations and enjoy B'tei Avon.
שבת מקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה עיני שבת מקבלה שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד השמיענו אלך מיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשם ולתפארת ולתחילה לך דודי לקראת קלה עיני שבת מקבלה.
Who are going to perform for us? By Gershom, Sizomu, Hazzan Mike Stein, joined by Justin Stein. Please give them your undivided attention.
It's a good thing for brothers and sisters to sit together and eat together and celebrate together and share the joy of being Jewish together. Hinemato umanaye shebetachem gam yachad. Hinemato umanaye שבטחים גם יחד הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבטחים גם יחד laba bwekuli okulungi bwekusanyosa abooluganda okutula wamu ine ma tov ומנעים שבטחים גם יחד הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבטחים גם yahad. Kitu kizuri sana kinapendeza, wadada na wandugu wakiwa pamoja, ine matoko manai shebetahim gam yahad ine matoko manai shebetahim gam yahad.
Samen eten in Uganda.
My name is Rabbi Gershom Sizomu, and I'm the spiritual leader of the Abayudaya Jewish community of Uganda. Abayudaya is a Luganda word which refers to the Jewish people as the people of Judah. Abayudaya. It is a community of native Ugandans who chose Judaism in 1919. It's not a result of the outside Jewish communities, but it is indigenous that came out of self-motivation. So what makes our community unique is the history. The founder of this community, Semei Kakunguru, read the Christian Bible, which the Christians had given him as a tool for converting people to Christianity. So when he read the Bible, he found out that the Torah or the 5 books of Moses spoke more to him because it contained a direct word of God to the people of Israel. So Semeika Kunguru fell in love with Torah and taught the same. The community faced many challenges after the death of Semeika Kunguru in 1928. There was no leader, every leader like him, who could steer the community into the future. But my grandfather, Samson Mugombe, voluntarily took over leadership in 1936 when the community was crumbling and was declining in numbers. So he took over leadership with few resources to reorganize and to unite the community. And the community survived during his leadership. But then in 1971, the community faced another challenge, and it was a challenge of the coming to power of General Idi Amin Dada. Idi Amin came to power and immediately outlawed Judaism. So we were not allowed to observe publicly or to even go to our places of worship. So I grew up during Idi Amin's regime, and it was very difficult because there was too much discrimination, there was too much mistreatment even in schools. As a child, we were forced to go to Christian services, and if we refused, they would sing insults at us, calling us Christ killers. And that made it very difficult. My father used to pray for the defeat of Idi Amin. And it eventually came on the 11th day of April 1979, and it was the first day of Passover when Amin was defeated, and the new government immediately declared freedom of worship. And it was a very good day because it was the right time when Jewish people yearn for redemption, when Jewish people talk about redemption and freedom from slavery. So I decided on that day that I would become a future leader of this community, because what happened was a real miracle that Amin had to leave at the time when every Jew expected freedom.
Many of us of a certain age remember Rabbi Ben Kreitman and his leadership of the United Synagogue in the late 70s and 80s. A powerful orator, his leadership of USCJ was preceded by a distinguished career in the U.S. Navy chaplaincy and in the Congregational Rabbinate. Especially significant in this room was his role in reshaping the World Council of Synagogues into what would become a recognized Zionist organization and eventually Masorti Olami. In recognition of Rabbi Kreitman's profound influence in creating a truly worldwide movement, it is wholly appropriate that our International Leadership Award bears his name. I'm honored to call upon Rabbi Gary Charlstein to present this year's Rabbi Benjamin Kreitman International Leadership Award to Rabbi Gershom Sizomu.
Thank you very much. You know, Moshe Rabbeinu named his firstborn son Gershom. As he said, Ger ha'iti be'eretz nochriya. I was a stranger in a foreign land. Well, our Gershom, Rabbi Sizomu, is a welcome citizen of a land that might be a little strange for Jewish life. And this phenomena, this brilliant phenomena of Rabbi Sizomu is something that is bringing great pride and benefit to all of us. But for example, a couple of years ago, he and I were going to a charity event in downtown Philadelphia. And he's walking along in the summertime, springtime, with his bright-colored yarmulke. An African-American gentleman comes by and says, "You Jewish?" And Rabbi Sizomu says, "Yeah." He says, "Hey, Sammy Davis Jr." Okay. And then when we were at his 100th anniversary celebration in Uganda, a fellow lawmaker, because I hope you know that Rabbi Sizomu is a member of the Ugandan parliament, the first Jew to be in the Ugandan parliament, representing 60,000 Ugandans. And this fellow said, well, when I first came into the Parliament Hall and saw this diminutive fellow sitting there ready for work, I saw he had a head covering on. So he said, I was ready to go over to him and give him a salam alaikum. He said, but as I got a little closer, I said, that's not a Muslim headgear. Well, he got an education as to what it is to be a Jew. And so it has been with Rabbi Sizomu, educating all of us, inspiring all of us as to what it means to bring Judaism to this community of his in Uganda. Many here have had the privilege of being there, and many, I understand, are going under the auspices of the United Synagogue, Candace Assembly, a great thing. And if I could say in one word what Rabbi Sizomu and his community brings to all of us, it is joy. It is the simcha of being a Jew. It's feeling the total turn of events when Shabbat enters, and you see the light of their faces. And do they dress? Oh my goodness. I thought it was GQ with these guys with suits on and white suits and dogs. And the ladies, not that I know fashion, but it certainly looked like the latest in Ugandan fashion. But they were there for the honor of Shabbat, for the joy of Shabbat, for the pride of being a Jew. And not only is Rabbi Sizomu serving his community near Mbale of eastern Uganda, but there in his community, I met Jews from Ethiopia who had come there to study with him. And Rabbi Sizomu is sending his disciples out to other communities in Uganda to perpetuate their learning, their understanding, their knowledge of what it means to be a Jew. Many of you have probably met some of Sizomu's students. They're at our camps Ramah. They are in the conservative yeshiva in Yerushalayim. And now we have the honor, the pleasure, the thrill, the joy of having Rabbi Sizomu with us. So if I may call Rabbi Gershom Sizomu to the platform, and we would like thereby to present him with the Rabbi Benjamin Kreitman International Award. Gershom, Yashkayach. And I hope you'll all read carefully in the booklets you have at your table. The man's a little fuller identity, married to Sipora, father of 5, well deserving of our applause. Yashkayach. Okay, let me take a picture.
Thank you, Masorti Olami, for this honor. It's definitely the first of its kind to come to Africa. I've never received any award. None of our people has ever received an award. And this is going to be the first one. You've made history, and I thank you for making me part of this history. Growing up in a small village in eastern Uganda, where there was no water and there's no electricity, and food is so scarce, where we ate mangoes and other fruits, competing with the monkeys and chasing them so that we can have food, where Judaism was forbidden, where it was almost an abomination to call yourself a Jew. I feel very, very much privileged to be standing here before you as a rabbi of my community, as a member of parliament in Uganda, and as a receiver of an award. It's a dream. And this dream has come to pass not because of my own making, but I will say, le'osenifla otigedolot levado, to the one who makes wonderful miracles by himself, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And I want to share this award with many of you. I will say all of you have come here tonight, with the organizations in the United States and Israel that have worked with Abba Yudaya and that have supported us, that have encouraged us. To many of you who have been supportive in helping our community access clean water, good health, electricity. To many of you who have supported us build our community, build a synagogue, a new synagogue, promote our music. You know, many of you have invited me to your organizations and synagogues to tell my story, to fundraise, and those of you have opened your homes to us so that we can be part of you. It is a privilege to be a Jew, and I am very, very much privileged to be one of the people sharing in this privilege. And I want to say that because of your support, many Ugandans now realize that it is a privilege to be Jewish. And many are walking into my doors. Rabbi Chaim Weiner, every time he comes to Uganda, we conduct a bet din of people who come to convert. This June, we had many of them who came, who walked into our doors, and they want to convert to Judaism. We have opened up our doors, and the conservative Judaism is going to be a big force on the continent of Africa because of your support. And I urge you to continue supporting, and I thank you for your support. Thank you so much. May Adonai continue to give us strength so that we move from strength to strength. Thank you so much.
Rabbi Mordechai Waxman, prior to and throughout his 55-year career as Rabbi of Temple Israel of Great Neck, was recognized as one of the true exemplars of great rabbinic leadership. From his seminal book on conservative Judaism, Tradition and Change, still in print more than 60 years after its first publication, to his groundbreaking work in interfaith relations, Rabbi Waxman is remembered for the speech he delivered in the presence of Pope John Paul II, in which he was highly critical of church anti-Semitism and hostility to Israel. But I want to reflect on another Mordechai Waxman speech delivered at a USCJ convention in the late 1980s. The scheduled speaker that night was none other than Elie Wiesel. It came time for the speech with 2,000 people in the Concord Hotel, Zichrono Livracha, in the meeting hall of the Concord. But one problem, no Elie Wiesel. So at the last second, United Synagogue leadership, undoubtedly Ben Kreitman already referenced earlier, prevailed upon Mordechai Waxman to fill Elie Wiesel's slot with not even a second of preparation. I remember that speech. It was brilliant. The evening was saved, and all were inspired. To present this year's Rabbi Mordechai Waxman Rabbinic Leadership Award to Rabbi Michael Siegel, I'm honored to call upon Rabbi Siegel's protege, Rabbi Elliot Cosgrove, Senior Rabbi of Park Avenue Synagogue.
Erev Tov, good evening, everybody. So the story is told of a radio show that's coming to a close, and the announcer asks the final question of the rabbi, the priest, and the minister. At the end of your tenure, should you go unto the good Lord, and two of your parishioners should be walking by your body, what would you like one to say to the other? And the priest says, should that be the case, I'd like one to turn to the next, and I'd like one parishioner to say that he was a man of God and he brought his flock closer to God. And the minister was called on for the same question and was asked what he would like one to say to the other, and the minister said, I'd like them to reflect on my pastoral legacy, his kindness, compassion, that he infused the community with deeds of goodness. And it was the rabbi's turn, and the rabbi was asked, and the rabbi responded, should it be the case that the good Lord takes me unto the heavens, and two of my congregants are walking one next to the other by my body, I'd like one to turn to the other and say, I think he's moving. Having been extended the honor of introducing my teacher, my former boss, and my friend, Rabbi Michael Siegel, allow me to frame it with two comments. First, that while it's by way of my education at JTS that I received the title of rabbi, it was by way of my service at Anshe Emet under Michael that I became a rabbi. I spent the first formative years of my rabbinate under Michael's mentorship, a thrilling experience, the constant refrain in my head, this too is Torah that I must learn. I look back on those years with abiding gratitude and appreciation, A, because I never knew what a great job it was to be an assistant rabbi until I became a senior rabbi, and B, because ever since, the North Star of my rabbinate, when faced with opportunity, with challenge, or with growth, has been the ever-present question of what would Michael do? And second, and to return to the punchline of my joke, is that while Michael's manifold leadership accomplishments can be found on your program and on the website, I think his rabbinate now and in the future, Ad Mea V'Esrim, can be distilled into that one phrase, I think he's moving. Rabbi Michael Siegel is always on the move. The Jewish world doesn't lack for dreamers, those stargazers and navel gazers, overflowing with ideas on the necessary moves that the Jewish community must commit to. So too, the Jewish world doesn't lack for competent professionals, programmers who are able to implement ideas big or small. But altogether rare, a select few, and Rabbi Siegel ranks at the top, are those leaders who at one and the same time are able to step back, assess and identify the aspirations of our people, and make those ideas a reality. To observe Michael's rabbinate is akin to watching a grandmaster play a game of chess. Not only is he always moving, but he has all the moves. Michael's role on the national stage representing the interests of our people in Israel at the White House, Michael's leadership in Chicago as a spokesman on civil discourse and intercommunal and interfaith cooperation, Michael's leadership in the conservative movement, be it Hechsher Tzedek, the Hayom Commission, or tonight's efforts for Masorti Olami, and Michael's vision for his beloved Anshe Emet synagogue. The marvelous thing about Michael is the refreshingly democratic manner by which he approaches his rabbinate, a sense that he's as passionate about putting together a young family program, B'nai Mitzvah curriculum, or Shiva House, as he is to rally colleagues to collaborate on the national stage. Every soul matters, no detail too small, and no effort bearing Michael's fingerprints will ever lack the core ingredients of passion, excellence, and menschlichkeit. Michael is always on the move, and breathtaking as his past achievements may be, I know that for Michael, the best and the biggest are yet to come. Finally, I'd be remiss if I failed to note, in the presence of Janet and Joe, that Michael also taught me, as I'm sure he does to his other colleagues, that sacred as our commitments may be to community or cause, there's no love greater, given or received, than that of our families. Janet, Joseph, Rebecca, Dina, and Emma, your father, your husband, taught me as much about being a good spouse and Abba as he did about being a good rabbi, and that's a debt for which me and my family will forever be grateful. Mazel tov to each of you on your father and husband's award. Michael, mazel tov on tonight's honor. As the psalmist teaches, Yagia kapecha ki tochal ashrecha v'tov lach. May you enjoy the fruits of your labors. May blessing and prosperity be yours. Please join me in welcoming our honoree for the Rabbi Mordechai Waxman Rabbinic Leadership Award, my teacher and friend, a man who is always on the move, Rabbi Michael Siegel.
Oh. Well, thank you. Got to do the picture here. Phil, you got to get in here, Phil. Phil, come on. Thank you, Elliot, for those kind words. There is such a thing as rabbinic nachas. And to look out and to see Charlie Savanor here, David Russo, and to think of the many rabbis that it's been my privilege to work with over the years gives me a great deal of nachas. And I applaud your work, Elliot, and all of our other colleagues who work so hard. I look out and see rabbinic colleagues who are like family. And it is a joy to be with you and to do this important work. I look at friends who lead this movement, and I stand in awe of the time and effort that you give. And I am so grateful for all that you do. I'm remarkably honored to join with the other honorees, with Gillian and Mike and Gershom, and know that the work that you have done has made such a difference, and to be humbled, to be honored on an evening when we have a chance to celebrate a true Jewish hero in Gershom. And he deserves a round of applause for all that he's done. I'm so privileged that Janet's here, and really all that I do is made possible through her. And Joe, you're here and representing all of our kids, and love seeing you and being with you here. And then there's the Anshe Emet family, and we refer to the Anshe Emet family in just those words, and it does feel that way. And I'm so honored that a number of Anshe Emet people have made the trip, leaving one cold city to come to another cold city. When we open the Torah this week, we see Avraham acting, doing. He could have rested on his laurels, but he chose instead to ensure that the gift that he had been entrusted with, the Masorti, would carry on. And the entire parasha is a study in how one takes responsibility to ensure the future. Maseh Avot Siman Levanim. That the actions of our patriarchs and matriarchs, the great ones who come before us, they instruct the next generations of what to do and how to do it. I'm sorry to say that the work of Masorti Olami is too much of a secret in our congregations. And that has to stop. Rabbis need to ensure that the work that is being done around the world is known, celebrated, and supported. That's the work of true leaders. And I will take that on in my own rabbinate to ensure that we do more, that we get the word out, and that we strengthen the future for Masorti Judaism around the world. It is Avodat Kodesh. It is our sacred responsibility. I'm very honored to stand with you today, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
We are going to impose upon our final honoree, Hazzan Mike Stein, to sing for us one more time. Shalom Rav.
I'm the sound man. I look a lot like the cantor. Over here.
Thank you. Shalom Rav. Al Yisrael Amcha V'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel Shalom Rav Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'o no la Shalom Rav A Yisrael Amcha Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel Shalom Rav A Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam Ki Atahu Melech Adon Lecho HaShalom Ki Atahu Melech Adon Lecho HaShalom Shalom Rav Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel Shalom Rav Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam B'tov be'einecha Livarech Et Amcha Yisrael B'chal ein u'b'chal sha'a B'shlomecha Shalom Rav Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel Shalom Rav Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam Tasim Le'olam Tasim Yeah.
I'm honored to call upon Hazzan David Lipp, President of the Cantors Assembly, to welcome our outstanding honoree, Hazzan Mike Stein.
So you all have the program in front of you. I'm reminded when Maimonides tries to explain how God sees time, that in a sense that God sees time in two dimensions, like a map. So you all have his bio in front of you, but some of us mere mortals, we got to know Hazzan Mike Stein kind of step by step in a human kind of a way. So I had thought many years ago that I knew Hazzan Mike Stein. I knew he had been on Broadway, but hadn't known he served in the armed forces. I knew he had served then in the military, but not that he had played for presidents. I knew that he composed music and played anything with strings, but didn't know that he had won a Grammy. I knew that he played at the Grand Ole Opry, but not on The Voice. I knew that he produced for Theodore Bickel, but not that he played for Mary Chapin Carpenter. I knew that he taught, but I didn't know that he went to Eastern Europe and Africa to share his talents with their sometimes struggling Jewish communities. One of those trips I got to take with him this past year. You know, this is sounding a little bit like Chad Gadya, and I know that it's not Passover. Also, that he hasn't defeated Malach HaMavet yet. That's the angel of death, for those of you who don't speak Yiddish. But my only question really to those of you here is if you haven't had him to your community, all I can ask is, why not? Or to paraphrase Hillel, if not soon, when? So please help me in honoring a teacher, composer, instrumentalist, unifier, Hazzan, cantor, friend, Ubermensch, and I mean that in Yiddish, not Nietzsche, Hazzan Mike Stein.
Thank you. Thank you, David, for that wonderful introduction. And I'm very proud that you're introducing me, that you introduced me, president of the Cantors Assembly, an organization that means so much to me. I am so proud that so many members of the Cantors Assembly came to support this. So thank you very much, and to my family. You know, we all want to grow. If we don't grow, the journey doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So as I have had a career in music, I became a Hazzan. I grew up in a conservative shul. I went to shul with my father, and that's how I learned to be a Hazzan. And I had a really rough kind of father who was Eastern European. He was first generation. But the one joy that I had was to sit underneath his tallis and listen to the Hazzan. And for me, I was one of those kids that couldn't get enough of it. But then I made quite a bit of a turn in my journey, and I became a Jubu. And I had to search. But finally, through the Navy, and all of this, I found something that really, really meant a lot to me, and that's visiting communities, Jewish communities around the world, and sharing my love of Judaism with them. There seems to be nothing more important to me than that. And I have to thank my Rabbi, Stuart Vogel, who is going to be the head of the Rabbinical Assembly, who is here tonight, flew all the way from Los Angeles. He's one of those rabbis that he only cares about the community, and there's no ego involved, and whatever works for the community. And he has allowed me to blossom and to do all of these things and to be gone. He's laughing, I hear that. Is that a happy laugh or what? And then, of course, Hazzan Mimi Hasselkorn, my colleague, and she, we work together, and like this past Shabbat, while I was gone, she had 3 services to do without me. So thank you for all that you do. And of course to my wife, who allows me to do anything that my heart tells me to do. And I really, really appreciate that. So I grew up in a conservative shul, and I am really steeped in the idea of being a conservative Jew. So I started traveling and visiting communities. And of course, I went to Uganda first, and there I met Rabbi Gershom Sizomu. I didn't meet him there. I knew him for a long time before that. You go to Uganda, and you sit in the synagogue, and you hear these beautiful voices in beautiful harmony, and you look out the window, and there's a waterfall and a mountain, a high mountain, a kind of a mesa, that a flattened mountain, and you look out at it, and you hear the deep, rich harmony. I was familiar with the music, but it could never compare to being there in person. In the morning, looking out the window, the view, the music, the religious fervor of the congregation, the combination was hypnotic and deeply, deeply spiritual. Of course, women came up to the bima to lead services for aliyot, to read Torah and Haftarah. I felt at home. This is my Judaism. This is real. It's definitely way more than what others would consider Jewish enough. I traveled to Poland to work in Warsaw with the progressive community of Beit Warszawa. Every year I would go and teach a group of students who were learning to be prayer leaders. In the summers, I would hold a seminar for them in a retreat in Kazimierz Dolny. We wanted to do a concert in the only standing synagogue in the region, which is now, unfortunately, basically a museum. We were denied the permission by the Orthodox rabbinate to perform because we were not the right kind of Jews. When I traveled to Poland with the Kansas Assembly in 2009, women members of the assembly were denied the right to stand on the bima of the shuls in which we davened. Imagine women like Hazzan Mimi, who is here today, had to sit in the kahal. When a Jew dies in Poland, that person must get permission of the Orthodox rabbinate to be buried in the Jewish cemetery. Don't tell me that the Jews from Uganda and the Jews from Poland who are conservative Jews are not Jews or Jewish enough. I teach in Zimbabwe, members of the Lemba tribe of Jews who left Eretz Israel 2,500 years ago. And DNA testing confirms that they are Kohanim, as they have claimed. I went there for 10 days to teach, help lead services, and learn about Lemba culture. They are finding their way through the complicated web of Jewish branches of Judaism, and they are also working through finding a balance between the ancient Jewish practice and the modern Jewish practice. They are wonderful, gentle people with a thirst for knowledge of both their ancient ways and the rabbinical and post-biblical Judaism. They observe Shabbat, and his students are sponges. I am training 5 students now in how to lead prayers and be community leaders. Sometimes we use Skype, and it's very, very difficult because they turn the electricity off except for 4 hours a day. But they want to learn. They want to learn, and they're there on Skype, and they have to travel, and they need money to travel. They have also created their own nusach. It's called the Nusach Project. And I worked with them, and we've recorded several recordings that the community, all in the countryside and the city of Harare, can use. But once again, they find themselves in a pickle. Someone else is telling them that they're not Jews or Jewish enough. The Messianic Church, which offers their people, the Lemba, free medical care in exchange for joining their community. Because, as they tell it, they are real Jews. The Orthodox synagogue there in Harare does not recognize their Jewishness or accept the authenticity of their Jewish ancestry. Don't get me wrong, I walked to an Orthodox shul for Shalosh Shudas, And I had a chavrusa for a long time at Yeshivat Mesivta in Calabasas, although he won't sit in my shul to study. He'll come to my house. One of my sons is the cantorial soloist at a Reformed shul, Beth Hillel in North Hollywood, and my other is the High Holy Day cantor at the Jewish Community Project in Tribeca. I believe that every Jew should have the freedom to worship as they see fit. What I seek is not anger, separation, or hate, but achdut, oneness. You might not step foot in my shul, but don't deny that we are brothers and sisters from the same family. It is happening, unfortunately, in many communities that are, as they explore their Judaism, they don't understand that there are many branches. When you start out with something, you have one idea and you stay with that. But it's not true. We need to teach them. Masorti Olami works to ensure that Jews who want to follow the conservative model will continue to exist. The late Rabbi Joseph Lookstein often said that he loved all Jews except for Jews who didn't love other Jews. I look forward to the day that we remember as a people that we all stood together at Mount Sinai.
Friends, we are remarkably on schedule, and we have two final elements. The last will be my dear colleague and the next president of the Rabbinical Assembly and the colleague and partner of Hazzan Stein, and that's Rabbi Stuart Vogel, who in a few moments will lead us in Birkat HaMazon, and following which there will be a dessert reception outside. But before that, we're proud to call upon Margot Gold, Vice President of Masorti Olami and the immediate past President of USCJ, to offer concluding remarks. Margot.
Good evening. What a wonderful and inspiring celebration this has been. I've been tasked tonight with two very pleasurable assignments. I think putting my glasses on will help. First, you've been a fabulous crowd, and we'd like to invite you to come again next year. Please take out whatever device you use and mark your calendar for next year's gala on Sunday, December 6th, 2020, here in New York. As we say in the South, y'all come and bring your friends. It's also my great honor to acknowledge those who made this wonderful evening happen. First and foremost, our honorees, Rabbi Michael Siegel, Rabbi Gershom Sizomu, Hazzan Mike Stein, and my friend Gillian Caplin. Individually and collectively, your dedication, vision, tireless efforts, and leading by example have inspired each of us to be here this evening, and whose honor we have collectively supported Masorti Olami and its work worldwide. You definitely rock. Organizing an evening of this magnitude truly takes a team, and Masorti Olami brought their major leaguers to this amazing effort. How fortunate we are for the leadership as Executive Director of Rabbi Mauricio Balter. Mauricio, kol hakavod. Your partnership with Gillian and now with Phil have been a winning combination, and your thoughtful, calm style and your total dedication to our goals have been powerful draws attracting volunteers and supporters alike. Rabbi Rafi Cohen, our new team member in our Masorti Olami New York office, has been instrumental in assuring tonight's success. Welcome, Rafi, and thank you. Rabbi Philip Schein, though new to his role as our Masorti Olami president, brings incredible seasoned leadership to us, through his recent role as president of the International Rabbinical Assembly and his pulpit leadership of Congregation Beth David in Toronto, where he is much beloved. Here too, Phil. Thank you to our Masorti Olami board members, many of whom are here tonight. You come from so many communities and countries. The first time I met so many of you in Israel last year, I was amazed and awed at the depth of your commitment. Your presence here and your support and enormous dedication to fostering Masorti Judaism across the globe are what truly gives Masorti Olami its strength. To our donors and supporters, you've all seen the lists. We couldn't do this work without you. Your incredible generosity is doubly distinguished by your embrace of the value of Masorti Judaism, elevating all of our efforts in what I believe to be very holy work. And I've saved the best for last. Masorti Olami is blessed to have a secret sauce, and her name is Tehila Rubin. Since the first time I met Tehila at the WZO conference 5 years ago, I've been impressed by her indefatigable energy, her ability to multitask at warp speed and with a smile, and her total grasp and dedication to the Masorti Olami mission. I was thrilled by Tehila's promotion this year to deputy director. She has brought every bit of her skill set to assuring the success of this evening. Please join me in thanking Tehila, Yasher Kocha, and everyone else. And now I do have two other happy assignments. One is to let you know that the dessert buffet, it will be out in the lobby after we conclude this evening. And now I'd like to call upon my friend, Rabbi Stuart Vogel, to lead us in the Birkat Hamazon.
There you go. Yeah, hopefully you won't be disappointed to know we'll start together and we will conclude separately as you make your way out to the buffet. My dream, by the way, one day is so many organizations represented here, each at a different table. My dream one day is that we have one united movement worldwide where we sit at each other's tables and that we can really drive our mission forward and that we can create a sense of unity throughout the world and not one group at a time doing it, but Am Echad. As we join together, Chaverai Navarech. Yehi Shemanai Merach Me'atav Ad Olam, Birshut Chaverai, Navarech Eloheinu Shelchanu Misheloho. Baruch Eloheinu Shelchanu Misheloho, V'tuvo Chayinu, Baruch U'Baruch Shemo, Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu Melech HaOlam. Hazzan et ha'olam kulo b'tuvo v'chen b'chesed u'vrachamim hu noten lechem lechol basar ki le'olam hasto u'v'tuvo hagadol Tamid lo chasar lanu ve'al yachsar lanu mahazon le'olam va'ed ba'avor shemo hagadol Ki uzan umfornes lahakol, umetiv lahakol, umechin mahazon, riotav asher. Chata Adonai Hazzan takol. Node lecha Adonai lecha הארץ ועל המזון עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו וכל ישראל והימרו אמן. מזל טוב! Hazzan, Stein, I love you.
Yep.